Hi, Sheila.
He's gone all buy one, get one free, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's stealing my clothes. How dare he? He's the bog-off Chancellor, yes. The restaurant vouchers, it's an interesting little sop. I mean, it's a nice... there had been talk of him giving all households, £500 voucher to go out and spend on retail and restaurants. And I think it boiled down to a bog-off voucher if you go out to a restaurant Monday to Wednesday in August. Not a bad thing. It will help some stimulus. It is worth remembering the days that most chains do restaurant vouchers 50% off, so buy one free. They tend to do them earlier in the week, and this is a Monday to Wednesday scheme, and they tend to do them mainly on what you tend to be low cost but high perceived value foods like pizzas and pasta that cost threepence halfpenny to make, but people are willing to pay for. Obviously, this applies to everything. So what's likely to happen is restaurants don't do vouchers, you'll get 50% off, so it'll be an actual discount. Those that do vouchers will continue them, but the government will give them the money for the other half. So it is a pretty reasonable little stimulus for August that will help the restaurant trade and will help people get a discount. But I think it's relatively trivial. It was making it out like it was going to be some massive announcement. No, we've never done this. Whoa. Everybody's everywhere sitting there holding his breath. What's he about to do? Is he about to do helicopter money and throw £1,000 on every single house? Restaurant vouchers. I've been doing that for years, Sheila.
I know. My very first on-air conversation with you was about vouchers, and I was, and I'm afraid I still am a little bit, don't know why, a voucher snob.
Yes.
Silly.
But we won't do that today. There are many other things to discuss than your aversion. I think your aversion to if someone takes you out on a date, having them pay with a voucher. But that, maybe not. How would you be? Well, we may as well ask you, on a first date, if someone took you on a Monday to Wednesday and they got the 50% off because of the Chancellor, is that different?
No, it's not.
You're still a snob.
But we're in different times, aren't we? We're in different times.
We are indeed.
Anyway.
I'm not sure it should matter, but we are.
So what stood out, apart from all of that, to you?
Well, look, the stamp duty cut, which we should be careful, is a stamp duty cut for England and Northern Ireland, and means that you will start paying stamp duty on properties above £500,000 rather than £125,000. Now, it's worth noting that's being talked about as a benefit for those first-time buyers buying properties under £500,000. Of course, it looks like, and I'm still waiting for final confirmation of this, but I'm gobsmacked if it isn't correct, it's actually a benefit for anybody buying their main residential property. Because let's say you're buying a house for £600,000. Well, previously you would have paid stamp duty and it would have been 5% above £250,000. Now you pay 5% above £500,000. So if someone buying a £600,000 house would have paid 20 grand stamp duty and will now pay £5,000 stamp duty, providing, when I finally get the detail, nothing has changed in a way that they hadn't told us. If you're buying a second house, then you still have the 3% surcharge on top. So look, that will be a stimulus for this year, up to the 31st of March. Quite a substantial stimulus to the housing market. It is worth remembering that first-time buyers are struggling anyway because the deposit that you will now need to get a mortgage is much bigger than it was. So this, whether it actually helps because you tend to put the stamp duty on your mortgage or not if you've got a small deposit is questionable. But for those who have a larger amount saved up, this should be helpful for first-time buyers.
And presumably the motivation there is people will be less financially pressured, but also it will mean that people will move. People will maybe use that money to renovate a house that they move to and all the rest of it. Yeah,
well, it will do. Well, it just means a mortgage in a way, so they should have more disposable income coming in each month because the mortgage will be smaller. It's the way most people tend to do stamp duty. But the stamp duty is when people are doing prices, they go and see a house and it says 180,000 and they look at it and they don't add the stamp duty in their head, and it's part of that psychological. Actually, you're getting what you paid for without paying the tax on top. Yeah, it certainly will be a stimulus. Of course, I mean, in normal times, you would worry that house prices would rise so much to cover it, so it wouldn't actually be a real gain. Well, not in normal times. The Chancellor is trying to do something different. He's trying to get everything going again, get bums on seats in restaurants, get people going to estate agents, get houses moving. And the other big one from my perspective is the green energy grants. Now, those who've been studying this for years, as I have, will remember the Green Deal. Yes. And this feels like a new Green Deal, although I have to say it looks like it's a better structure. The Green Deal was all pegged on this loan, that you had to get a loan with it, which was cumbersome and confusing and had issues. actually, if you're going to do it, I remember writing a paper on how they could fix the Green Deal at the time, and one of my suggestions is just give people the money. If that's what you want to do, give them the money. So the Chancellor is going to make grants available for homes, including for landlords, of up to £5,000, which will cover 2/3 of the costs for green measures. It could be insulation, it could be double glazing, and a whole host of others. One presumes solar panels. Once we get the details, will come into this. And
remind me of that scheme for solar panels that was ground to a halt some time ago.
Okay, that's a slightly different scheme. So solar panels, of course, generate you electricity. But what would happen, and anyone who signed up for solar panels before the feed-in tariff scheme was basically shut down, you would also be paid money for generating electricity, not just the electricity that you sent back to the grid, but also the electricity you used. Now, in the early days, the amount was very generous and it was locked in. I can't remember, 20 or 25 years, locked in for a long period anyway. You'd get, and the rate that applied on the day you got your panels is the rate that continued. So that has now gone. But solar panels do, of course, generate electricity for you. So if you have solar panels and you make sure you put your washing machine on during the day when they're making electricity so that you use the electricity, you can get batteries as well now. They're still not, I'm not sure we're fully there with the batteries being efficient enough to make the cost worth it yet, but I think we'll be there soon. Yeah. So all of these things still come in, and other energy efficiency measures. And this grant will be available. That's big money. Of course, it's got lots of remits: economic stimulation, improving the stock of housing in the UK, and helping the individual. And I think that will be a very positive move, those grants, when they come out in September. Brackets, caveat alert, when I actually get to read the detail, which we haven't seen yet, close bracket.